Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, what I want to talk about are some watches that I found interesting that have come from the 2022 Watches and Wonders that was held in Geneva recently. And there's another group that was part of it, AAHCI, which are this elite independent group. I'm not including them because not because they didn't have every watch I would love to have, but rather because they don't seem to have like an annual watch or this or that, but they'll have one and they'll sort of go along with it for quite a while. These are sort of, you might say, the mainstream watch companies that have watches for us. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. First one is the Tonda PF GMT Rattrapant. If you've ever had a Rattrapant or seen one, they're also called split seconds, and you'll have the second hand, and then the second hand will be used in for a chronograph, and then a second hand will come out, and that's the Rattrapant. And looking at this watch is so clean. They're not a bunch of dials running all over the place. You can see very clearly what it does, but what happens, depending on the mode that it's either in what we'll call the standard mode with a big gold hand for a second time zone. That's the GMT. And but then underneath that, you have your Rattrapant. And it's really a beautiful watch. You have to worry about the hour. I mean, when you're timing for an hour, the hour hand takes care of that pretty well. Really, really an amazing looking one. This is by the Tonda PF GMT Rattrapant. The PF is Parmigiani Fluier. So many people had trouble with Parmigiani. It sounded like an Italian grated cheese, and to some, and so they decided they're going to clean it up and have used PF on all of their watches. Still, the work by Michel Parmigiani, who is a real watchmaker, by the way. In the back, they have a micro rotor, and it's really a very beautiful watch. PF 051, 26,000 Swiss francs. Not cheap, but it's a nice watch. Now, this next one, it caught my eye, first of all, for a couple of reasons. I like something other than just round. I have nothing against round, but I like variety. And the tonneau shape, or in this case, the rectangular shape, this is a nice watch. Someone look at that and say, oh, well, it looks like a tank, or it looks like a Reverso. Well, it sort of does, but so what? I think it looks that way because people aren't used to seeing too many rectangular shaped watches, and so that's what they think. Nice looking bracelet with it, a metal bracelet, and it's just a nice watch. It's got a round movement in it. It's an automatic. It's based on an ETA 2671, $2,800. To me, it looks like a good buy for this reason. That shape has a little more sort of businessy kind of everyday work with a touch of elegance to it. That's my opinion. But it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Reversos aren't that expensive, neither are tanks, but they're more so than what this one is. Some years ago, Baume & Mercier had one from the early 2000s. The particular one was in gold, and they had a Jacquet 736. In this particular case, it was Lange Perrier because Jacquet had to go away. It's Lange Perrier 736-3. This is a similar one by Maurice Lacroix, and it has that same movement in it. And it's sort of interesting to me is that having a shaped movement in a shaped watch and in the shape of the watch is a big plus, but they decided to go the other way, and especially with an automatic, I think probably round works a little better. That's another interesting watch, I thought. Now, this one, Rolex Air-King, I love Air-Kings. I've seen some there were some reviews of the Air-King. People were making fun. Oh, you have to get an Air-King, you know, because you can't find other Rolexes. I think a big mistake, because I love Rolex Air-Kings. Uh, the reason I like it so much, first of all, I like the design of the dial. The dial is based on the dial from a land rocket racer or jet engine racers, one of those ones they set up to try to set new land speeds. It was called the Bloodhound, and they had it out, and it didn't work very well, but that's not the point. What happened was that Rolex had made the dials for it, which I thought was sort of cool, and it looked like an instrument panel on an airplane. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I said, well, you know, we have this style that we have on the Bloodhound. Why don't we use it for the Air-King? And the Air-King, of course, is supposed to be their aviation model. And to me, it looks very, very much like some of the dials when I used to fly my own airplane. So I really like this, but it's not popular with Rolex owners for some reason. At one time, it used to have the 3131 movement, which was exactly the same movement in the much-loved Milgauss. But the Milgauss was, you know, about $1,500 more, still is. What they have now, though, may have put it up one on the Milgauss. It's a new caliber called the 3230, that was new in 2020. So it's got a pretty new movement in it. And I think the Milgauss is still using the 3131. So there are a lot of reasons to really appreciate this one. And it's not, they fixed up something with the aesthetics around the bracelet and so forth. And it does, I will admit that does help the looks of it. But this is a watch I just love. I don't own a Rolex, but I like this one. Okay, this next one is one that I kept looking at it, and this was a new one from Lange Söhne, their 1815. Tell you the truth, I'm not sure what was different. They kept talking about it as being in pink gold, and maybe that was it. Maybe they changed it from yellow gold or some other color of gold to pink gold, and that was what was new about it. I love this watch. This is a gorgeous watch, just beautiful watch. And, you know, to some extent, I don't care whether it's new or not. I wanted to show it because I like it so much. Beautiful 18 karat pink gold, solid silver, argine. This is a great watch, and I really just like it because I like it. Okay, moving right along. This next one is an Oris Big Crown Pointer date. Now, here was something in looking at this watch. It's $3,400, which is, you know, down more for what more people can afford. I really liked it. Now, it does have a silicone escapement and pallet fork, but it doesn't have the immutable silicone hairspring. It has a curb regulator, and it has the most wonderful little thing. You can't see it too much because of the rotor gets in the way, but it has this really cool little sort of geared regulator adjustment on it. It's got the pointer date. Just a nice watch, just good looking watch, and so that was 120 hours. Gives you a good long run on that one. So that's one I like too. Now this next one is Chopard, and Compagnie Faubourg et de Cowboy, and it's called the California Blue. I just mangled everything there, and I'm sorry about that. But this is another watch that is very attractive. It's got a caliber SXH3, 5 hertz. It's a it's a mule beater, really moving along. Chronograph, column wheel, vertical clutch, and linear hammer. This is really so much. It's $30,000 roughly, 29,000 Swiss francs. Really gorgeous watch, and it's got the California Blue because it's got a California dial. Top half is Roman, the bottom half are Arabic numbers. But an interesting watch, really gorgeous. And if you're into chronographs. Okay, this next one is by Speake-Marin Ripples. This watch, first of all, Speake-Marin, there's Speake-Marin, the watchmaker, and Speake-Marin, the watch company. They split up, so that's the way it goes. But still, they've been making some very interesting watch. This is under, it says La City, which could be LA City or just La City. This is sort of the line of watches they have called La City, and it's considered sports chic. Some are going to say, oh, this thing, it looks like a Nautilus, a Patek Philippe Nautilus, or it's a ripoff of an Aquanaut or something like that. Because it has those ripples in it doesn't mean it's a ripoff. It is, and especially with the small seconds up at 1 o'clock, not really a ripoff. And the hands, those big spade hands, not that. I think that the more we look at watches, the more variety we'll see, and everything's not a ripoff of something else. True, a lot of watches have been influenced by others, yes, but that they're a ripoff, unless they really are, I don't think this one is. This next watch is one that is, I like it a lot for a lot of different reasons. It's really a dual time, Hermès Arceau le Temps Voyageur. Okay, it means the Voyageur's time watch. It has the appearance of a world timer. It's not a world timer, it's a dual time zone. And the dual time zones, if people are looking at it and they look up at 12 o'clock, some people, I did, I thought, well, maybe that's the date. It's not, it's the second time zone. And I think it was sort of cool. And it's fairly expensive. A lot of these new watches are, to me, especially in stainless steel, are very expensive. This one is $22,550. Very nice watch. The movement is a combination. One is by Jean-Francois Mojon, which is one of the top watchmakers in the world, and that was put together with the standard Hermès made 1837 movement. So you have a nice movement in there, a combination of good in-house movement plus the one work by one of the great watchmakers. Now, this last one, wasn't quite sure about this one. Chopard Alpine Eagle XL Chrono. It's a chronograph, and it has sort of the sports watchy to it, and at the same time it's chronograph. Chopard, it has a bit of that Chopard elegance to it, just a touch of it, and I like that in a watch. At the same time, it's sort of I wouldn't call it a rough and tumble chronograph, and it is a COSC certified, which means it's chronometer grade watch. But it's got a rubber strap to it, which puts it in the category of very much of a sports watch. So I wouldn't call it sport chic, but rather, this is something that you can go out and do stuff and not have to worry about getting it banged up. Anyway, my own opinion was that there were a few watches at the Watches and Wonders. Holy smoke, these are really great. Had I looked at the AHCI, I would have gone there a whole lot more. But they had some nice ones there. And anyway, what I would hope for is something more, some really good watches that weren't so blasted expensive. Now, this may be because of the times we're in, and everything has just gone, sort of a time of high inflation. It's not a happy time unless, even if you're selling a watch. But some interesting things that are going on. Let me know what you think. And I'd really like to hear what you think. Hey, that's a top watch. You should have said, no, you should have said something. No, I shouldn't have. You should. So Anyway, let me know what you think. It's an opportunity to subscribe if you'd like. Until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.